What's up? This is Noah Frates with Noah Fitness, and I have one of my all-star students, Kenny Virtis, with me, who's going to tell us about his transformation. He really took it to the ultimate degree of getting lean. In my opinion, it was kind of like the quintessential transformation. We did it in 12 weeks. We were preparing for a vacation, and I've just been blown out of the water with his results. So I wanted to get Kenny on here to just explain a little bit about his journey, what he was looking for, a little bit of his experience working with Noah Fitness, reaching out for a coach. I think these are all good questions for anybody listening, whether they want to make a transformation, what it's like to go through, a transformation like yours, and kind of like the mindset. So I really like getting kind of my all-star students on here to give that mindset, because I'm a big believer that mindset is the most important thing for sure. So Kenny,
Yeah,
I'll just why don't you just kind of we'll start kind of just square one here. Tell us about yourself, where you're from, what you do, and basically what made you decide to reach out and get started over here.
yeah, yeah. So everyone, I'm Ken Virtis. I'm from actually the same hometown as Noah. Completely different regions now. He's out
Uh,
west, and I'm still in the Midwest, in Chicago here. So, um, 31-year-old guy, retired athlete, washed up athlete, whatever you want to call it. Um, for work, with quarantine, I no longer travel, but pretty heavy travel schedule in a normal life. So, finding gyms and making time for that is tough. So really took advantage of the quarantine time here to kind of really attack this goal. I've been trying to do this for a while and doing it solo. So that was, I guess, the silver lining in the quarantine world for me. Reached out. I had a couple buddies who went through the program and just saw some major successes with them. And I said, well, if they can do that, let me take it one step further. I'm a competitor. I want to one up my buddies, and they want to one up me. And so I joined. I reached out to them, offline. I said, tell me about the program, before I get on with Noah. And they just said it's life changing. It was good for body, soul, mind, all the above. So I reached out and had a good initial call with Noah. And to be completely honest, I had an injured back at the time that I first called him and said, I'm thinking about this, but maybe down the road. And he said, just start, man. He said, just start. And I was like, well, maybe I'll be healed in 2 weeks. And he said, just do it, just go. And I said, all right, let's just do this. So we jumped into it. Glad I did. I was able to really hit the ground running. I joined right after New Year's, so it's super cliche that you have the New Year's resolution to go after this, but that's the way it worked out. Full disclosure, I was in the gym before that. I wasn't the New Year's Day gym guy. So, yeah, so that's how I joined. That's how I got introduced to it.
cool.
Followed via social media and everything.
Cool. That's awesome. So it's always good to see prior success. So that's definitely what we're doing here is showing what is possible. So that's awesome that's what motivated you to get out here. You're seeing kind of other successes, especially your friends,
Sure.
and it's awesome. We have like a crew now of just a tight group of friends. And you guys are all exactly, trying to push each other to other levels. So super
Sure.
awesome stuff. So let's just dial in exactly. I know we kind of like, I guess now that we've kind of gotten like a really notable transformation, what was like your initial goal, and did your transformation kind of like meet that goal? So kind of tell us what were you expecting at first? It was,
Sure.
and what was your initial goal?
Yeah. So I got married the year prior. And obviously before your wedding, you go on your honeymoon and all that. You want to look good. You want to have,
Yep.
those pictures are going to be around forever. So I was pushing myself to the brink, leading up to that, just completely solo. And I got to a, pretty good spot. And I said, man, how do these people take it to that next level? And then I, started seeing my buddies buddy's doing this stuff. And I said, well, I'm already there. Let's try this again later. And then that's when I kind of reached out to Noah. But I guess what was the full question again here, Alex?
So what was like your initial goal, and kind of where
Yeah.
we got in 12 weeks? Like, where does that compare to it?
Yeah, I mean, it's light years above it. So I
Oh,
thought,
really?
yeah, I mean, I knew I could get lean. I knew I could get, cut down, but frankly, I ate more carbs in this program than I was eating before. I ate more food in general. It was just a matter of, I always ate healthy. So I always ate, the chicken, the broccoli, everything that you read and you see and everything that's, health. But it was just not proportional. I was eating, mega sweet potatoes all night, whatever. So dialing it in and just kind of doing those little minor tweaks here got me from, if I do this on my own, I could push myself and get to a 6 out of 10. But this, I got to a 10 out of 10. It's the leanest I've been since high school. I don't even think in high school I was this lean or had this much muscle mass. I mean, I was probably a scrawny kid back then, but it was fun to see, the kind of the fat fall off, the weight build up, and pushing my, weightlifting to another level. I always went to the gym to tire myself out. And if I sweat, my butt off, that was a good workout. But it's maybe not the case, in at least for my body and my situation. It was, you need to keep shocking the muscles, keep pushing up and up. And, I would just go in and grab 30-pound weights and tire myself out, doing arms or something, and then say, hey, that was a hell of a day. Get the hell out of there and come back next week. Let's do 30s again. And that's just, getting pushed to the next level to say, no, grab the 35s or grab the 40s. Got me to a level I didn't think was possible anymore. I, was starting to buy into your metabolism's slowing down, you're getting old, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I mean, if you put the effort in, it's possible for sure.
That's amazing. What an awesome answer. So that was cool to hear from you, because, I haven't really directly asked that question, kind of what, it's a vulnerable question, I guess, for me.
Sure.
Saying like, what was the outcome? Was it good? Was it bad? And hearing that it was way better than what you expected, that's really cool to hear. And exactly what you're saying. One thing I noticed about you right away was how disciplined you already were. You already worked super hard. So it was a matter of those little things, like you're saying. A lot of us can be very much on the right track, but just not knowing those little tweaks to kind of really make it happen, and like where to push to is often the game changer. So, but you had the biggest part covered, and that's being able to put in the work, being dedicated. That we don't think about that. That was already like a given. So that's where we could absolutely push to those levels. So that's super awesome. Let's see here. My next question is: did you have any like hesitancies or second guesses? I like to give this question because I think jumping into like, having somebody coach you or into a different program or investing in yourself, these are obviously big choices. So did you have any hesitancies or second guesses as you were thinking about doing this, and how'd you like get over them?
No, I mean, it took me a little bit to say, you don't know what you don't know, right? So it took me a while to say, all right, man, this is not your profession. This is not what you do for a living. If I Google, something that says, how many times a week should I work out? I'll get 50 different answers. One of them will be, I got cancer from WebMD. It's there's so much BS on the internet, and it's just so hard to really dial that in. And all this Instagram stuff about do these ab workouts and you're gonna have a six pack, and eat 500 pounds of bacon and you're gonna go into ketosis and you're gonna be great. I'm like, I don't believe half of this stuff, but I don't know what is true of it and what is not. And it took me a little while. I think I talked to you, just dipping the toe a little bit for a while, and then a couple conversations with my buddies already in the program. Then I just said, let's do it. Once I did it, no reservations. It was right away, success. And I've tracked my food before. I've I was going to the gym like 6 times a week. I was going to the gym in this program 3 times a week. So my wife liked it. Everybody liked it. I had more time to do what I needed to do, and I wasn't, spending it all in the gym. Not to say that, you don't do that if you're in different body types of me or whatever, but yeah, I mean, it was great. It was just that the education side was just phenomenal once I joined. So no reserves, no second guesses for sure.
Cool. That's awesome. And that's a good thing to point out. I really like that you pointed that out. Because honestly, you're not like alone in the category of people who are honestly just like doing too much. You were talking about before, like how you rarely ever had a carb. You're really, really strict on your diet. Hitting the gym all the time, exhausting yourself. We kind of took a lot of that stress away.
For sure.
uh,
Yeah,
just
body feels better because of it too. You
really.
know, like, I was doing, the half marathons and stuff, and, running all the time. I didn't run a mile in this. I did a bunch of stairs and things like that just to get sweats in and stuff. But man, I didn't run. And, my knees and my ankles and my back and everything says thank you for it.
That's
It
so
was,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was interesting.
that's one of the, like, if it was working hard being the answer, we would all get there, is what I like to tell people. It's really a combination about, knowing what, I don't want to say work smarter, but knowing what is actually changing the game. And something I've kind of studied for a long time is there are a few things that really change the game. And a lot of us were focusing on the things that actually don't change the game. Like cardio doesn't change the game, yet we focus so much on cardio when it comes to like fat loss and getting
Yeah.
definition. But if we'd focus more on nutrition, that changes the game. And then even within
That's for sure.
nutrition, we think maybe it's just like all carbs or something like that, or it's like a extreme way of skewing the foods. But it's more so about keeping that balance and knowing how to manage that balance.
Yeah.
So and still being able to flexibly diet. I mean, I guess the question is I don't know if we had many, but did we have cheat meals as we were going through?
Yeah, I kind of sucked at them. I I just had such a one-track mind on getting to this, vacation body
Mhm.
that I wanted to get to, that you had to say, all right, that was like a half a cheat meal. Let's bump this up next week. And you had to kind of push me on that. So I wasn't very good at my cheat meals. But yeah, I mean, I lost all that weight, got cut and got stronger, and had multiple cut weeks. I wasn't starving myself. I was still eating, and it was just a matter of you know eating more broccoli versus more sweet potatoes. Just understanding the calculation that is the macros of fat, protein, and carbs
Mhm.
to optimize your recovery, or all the stuff that that I don't know. but
Yep,
but
yep.
yeah, that's the equation for sure. And yeah, like you said with the kitchen, I mean, it's 85% kitchen is probably what I tell people, right?
Yep, yep. That's the one that we definitely don't put enough focus on.
No.
The way I say it is, and I think this one I'll ask you. I feel like we talk about how hard we push in the gym. If we just put that same energy into the kitchen, you'd be solved. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean,
Yep.
there was when I was, I wasn't, maybe not when I was wedding training, or doing all that stuff on my own. When I was just kind of working really hard in the gym, but not really caring about the food. Like, I
Mhm.
look back at that food and I'm like, man, if I put that into my macros right now, I'd be washed for like 3 days. And it was
Uh-huh.
just like, it was just uneducated eating and uneducated, consumption, the empty calorie drinks that I didn't need to have, just crush your macros. If you want
Mhm.
to go have a 250 calorie Dr. Pepper when I could have easily just had a diet Dr. Pepper, or
Uh-huh.
something like that, that
Yep,
just
yep.
ruin your macro equation. And it's just the education that I never had on the food side, which was probably my biggest takeaway, all said and done.
That's awesome. And that's one thing that really separates you from like say like I don't want to call anybody average, but like the average student, what separates you is you really become the student. You're open to learning. You're always asking questions, and you were on the coaching calls, always asking great questions. And it's always that level of willingness to learn, willingness to try things, being communicative. That's the game changer. It's really that gives you a custom solution because, and this is what I like to say, the biggest game changer is when you get your answer, because a lot of us, we have different challenges. Like your challenges were not anything similar to many other people's challenges, so I had to answer your challenges individually. And when you get a solution for your own challenges, I found that to be like where it's the game changer, because right there, that's your roadblock, and now you've overcome it, so now you can move forward. Whereas a lot of us, we hit that roadblock and we don't have a solution. We have one plan. We don't know where to go on that plan. We have one workout. We essentially change the whole thing, and it's like starting over, or we give up. Here, we just basically make, like we're talking about, is those little tweaks, and that's how we keep going. So
Yeah, and that's where I was at solo for the longest time. It was, I just got to that point break, and it was just, what the hell's going wrong here? I'm doing, for those with Apple Watches who track that, I didn't even track that during this program. But it was like, I was doing like 750 active calories a day of workouts every day. And that was like my goal. And that's just busting your ass on the Apple Watch workouts. And I just wasn't getting past that hump. And then the hump was your diet and tweaking your workouts to be continually shocking and pushing to get yourself to the next level. That was my solve. And it was figured out in this program.
Cool. Awesome. So let's give some people some advice. Say they were to join this program. What would you say your biggest learning curve was, and how did you get past that learning curve? So say somebody's joining, if they have the same issue, how would they get past that? Like, to maybe, I think you probably had having a transformation in 12 weeks is lightning fast. So you clearly got over the learning curve quickly. So that even could be a benefit. So so what would you say the biggest piece of the learning curve was for you, and how did you get past it so quickly?
Yeah, the biggest one for me was just balancing and the gym side. Like you said, everyone goes to the gym, everyone works out hard. That's sad to say, that's the easy side. Pushing up the big weights, that's the easy side.
Yeah.
It was dialing in my macros to make sure that I'm not top heavy, bottom heavy. So I know that I'm going to want something after dinner. I just know that's going to be the case. I know I'm going to want something for breakfast, and then lunch is kind of flex, and then kind of figuring out what works for me, what fills me up, what lets me have my chocolate, or what lets me have my pizza, or whatever your vice is. Being able to just say, yeah, you can do that, but then for breakfast you're having egg whites instead of a full omelet to account for the fat, or whatever it be.
Yep.
That was getting to that groove and that sweet spot, and I fortunately came into it. I had used my Fitness Pal before. So I was maybe a little bit above the curve on that, but I didn't use it correctly. I was just tracking and doing as little carbs as I could, and probably crushing myself. But yeah, getting into that groove where you finally find what works, and you're full all day, you're eating the stuff you like, you're good to go. That was probably my biggest hurdle, and that probably took me about a week. And it was a lot of, let's go in here and plan out a day. Tomorrow, what does it look like? Would this fill me up? And then try it the next day. Try that for breakfast, for your snack, for your lunch, for your snack, for your dinner, and another snack. Was I good? Was I happy? Or do I need to position more to post dinner, where I get these cravings that I know are going to come? That's just me, and that's how it works. So that was one of the curves, and a pretty big obstacle there. The other one was kind of back to the gym mentality that I had, and it was go there, bust your ass, sweat, go home. Don't track, don't do anything. It wasn't actively advancing myself. It was just going there and working hard, which is good. It's a good basis for, what you should be doing. But if I just track that and push myself and added 2.5 pounds or added 5 pounds or added 30 pounds to whatever I'm doing, it just brings you to the next level. And I just didn't do that. So,
Awesome.
so this one, I had a back injury from back in high school that I always seemed to use as a crutch. And it was like, okay, then let's go slow. Don't do, pull downs at 200. Let's start at 150, go to 155, go 160. And all of a sudden I'm beyond what I've ever done, even, before injuries. And it's like, all right, I guess I can do this. And I always thought I couldn't do it. So it's just taking it slow and just gradually getting there, I guess.
Awesome. So I love those takeaways. You're definitely advanced to know these takeaways. Is number one was understanding your biofeedback. Really, that was kind of how I interpreted it. Understanding like how you're actually feeling with your food and how to structure that so that you can keep going. I think it's a super hard one to get over and one of the most advanced things that you can do. But if you can start to make it to where your diet, because you have parameters and a lot of people are just too extreme. So that's number one. But once you're in the right parameters, it's how do you make those like endurable, especially when we're getting really down there. It's definitely not easy. But when you can start to think of, okay, I'm hungry at dinner, maybe I'll push more food to dinner, or I want this snack and I can actually fit this food. That's where flexible dieting is key. So I think that one's an awesome one. I'd say that's definitely one of the hardest learning curves. But I think, and I don't want to just say what the answer was, but what I think you said about the answer was is basically you were okay with trying something and seeing how it felt.
For sure. Yeah.
Yep. So I think that is so gigantic because I think that's the biggest reason why people fail overall is because they're not willing to literally fail. They're not willing to try something, and that's something that definitely separated you. Is you're willing to try things and see how they went, and that's truly how you find the most custom solution. Is you try it.
You actually say something that sparks my memory of our first conversation when you said we're going to do 3 in the week, and I was like, I'll do 6 right now, and if I'm not going out on Saturday night, sometimes I get in and do 7 or whatever. And you're like, well, do you have to do that as a stress relief? We can do walks and things like that. And so that was a strange one for me, pulling it back to 3. I was like, what the heck am I going to do with all my time now? And then the other one was, I was tracking my carbs, like we were saying. I was doing, almost no carbs. It was, eating like a 10-year-old kid. Like I was eating no, well, they probably eat terrible food, but I was eating no carbs essentially. And you came in and said, eat this many. And it was maybe like 3x what I had originally been eating. And I'm like, all right, let's give it a try. I'm not the pro here. I don't know what I'm doing. I say the same concept with, money. Someone else handles money. They know what they're doing. They're a pro. They spend all their time at that. This is your profession. You know what you're doing. I don't. So I said, sure, let's give it a go. And so I got to eat a lot more peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I got fit, and it was awesome. So
that's amazing. And it's awesome how humble you are, Kenny, because like you're a high level guy at fitness. You're not like somebody who just got into the gym. You're somebody who's very athletic, in great shape pretty much year round. So you can see right here that like Kenny's a humble dude and he's willing to learn. And that's kind of a magic formula to really take it to the top. So, and what you're saying is awesome because you're like so regimented, and we were doing things that were like big shifts, like 0 carbs to like you said, like 3 times the amount, and basically 6 to 7 day workouts to 3-day workouts like that. That's hard to do. To make that switch, and you went for it, and it's cool because you got such an extreme result. I mean, not to say anything that you put in the work and then some, but we did it with 3 days instead of 7 days. We did it without running. We did it with dieting flexibly. So I think that's super cool to when you're willing to change that and like kind of essentially do things like backwards a little bit
Yeah.
and get, you know, that sort of result. So that's really cool that you would.
Seemed counterintuitive for sure when we, I was looking back at the notes here from the first call. I'm like, oh, all right, this is different. Let's try it, And then, yeah, just week after week, weigh-ins after weigh-ins. I'm like, well, this is working. Man, I wish I would have been eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all the time. I've been starving myself for a year. What the heck? But yeah,
Yep.
it was good for sure.
Cool. It's funny. It just sparks one of these moments in my mind where I'm like, I'm kind of working with Kenny. Like you're an advanced guy. You know, you took one of my more advanced programs. It's kind of like not as much support. So like I figure you like I give you the plan and you handle it. And that's kind of what happened is you definitely handled it. You know, you were on all those coaching calls, you asked all those amazing questions, but like it was kind of like every photo is like, oh my gosh, like this dude is going for it. And I
was sick of plateauing, man. I was so sick of it.
Going the distance because we have a group of friends. So it was like Kenny was just like just moonshotting it. So it was nice that we had that goal to really hammer it down. But it was crazy to see that momentous progress. Like I just want to make a caveat. Like everybody wants to make a 12-week transformation, but it truly the skill set needs to be there to do that. And you brought that skill set of being dedicated already, you know, not sabotaging all that stuff. So that was amazing. So
yeah, I definitely didn't have a savage. I was never the person to go Sunday and just eat 150 wings. That was never my mentality. So like you said, I did come in with a little bit of a head start, but yeah, I definitely couldn't have done it without the education and, just communication with you constantly.
Perfect. Awesome. And that really ties into this next question is I want you to let me know what you felt was the most helpful working together to like give somebody an idea of what because sometimes people don't even know what like coaching even is or why it would even be helpful. You know, a lot of people are looking for just like, a workout program or when they think I'm a coach that they're just going to get a workout program and that's it. So like from working together, what would you say was most helpful?
Yeah, that's interesting because I was that guy that just said, all right, give me the program, I'll go do it.
Uh-huh.
Just give me and I'll go do it. And, even talking to some of my friends here, what are you doing? Like, what's your macros? I track my macros. I don't know what they are. And they're like, you can't really do it that way because as you get to different levels, it changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did when I first came in, and I was like I told you, I was eating these peanut butter and jelly sandwiches versus the week before my vacation where I said, no, I'm not going on stage, but let's act like I am, or let's really push this. It's completely different. So it was, as you progress, probably the biggest benefit was, if I'm doing this solo, I have no idea what to tweak my macros to, when to, bump up the fats or bump up the carbs or protein, what levels. So that, people to this day have asked me, what are your macros? I'm like, well, what day is it? I don't know. They're changing, weekly based on, feedback from my coach. So that was major. Just, you think of the coach and everything, and it's constant communication, constant change, which is probably, one of the highest values of the program was you looking at that and saying, okay, you had a, post vacation, I got back and, I was holding a bunch of water weight because I was drinking every margarita that I could see and just having fun. But, so this week do X, Y, Z, versus if I came back, I'd be like, all right, I need to starve myself again, need to not drink any water so I can get rid of this water weight. In reality, it was quite the opposite. I needed to drink a bunch of water and like things like that I just wouldn't know to do. And then just, like I said, with it's I forget the name of the app. What's it called again?
Trainerize.
Trainerize. Yeah, just being able to have, essentially you in my pocket and just be like, I'm at the gym, this workout or this bench is taken. What can I do alternative? Or I'm at this restaurant. I'm between getting ribs and a salmon, or ribs and a fillet. What do you think?
Mhm.
And then you just kind of giving me the feedback. Well, here's typically higher in this. Here's typically higher in this. Where are you at with your macros? Plug that in. Being able to just reach out to you and just say, I got this question. I don't know. If I go to Google, if I go to, any website, I'm going to get 50 different answers, and they're all going to lead me to somebody's story about how they created some menu, and I got to go all through it. And then I'm going to see someone doing an ab workout and say, you could get this fit in 30 days or something like that. I'm like, I was just so sick of reading all those things and not knowing. So just, yeah, having you to just give me a no bullshit answer of, what is the actual answer to this? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And you say, no, don't do that. Like, example for me was, I'm a late night eater. And for my specific, I'm going to put that caveat as well, that my specific body, my specific regimen, it was, oh, I've always heard you shouldn't eat after 7 or you shouldn't eat after 8 or whatever. And it's, 10 internet articles say yes, 10 say don't worry about it. What's the actual answer? That was one of the questions I came to Noah on our coaching calls with, and just getting clarification on that and helping me get past this hump that I was at for forever. So that was most helpful for me. It would be the constant communication, and then the tweaking of my diet that I just wouldn't know to do.
Perfect, man. Those answers, just me being a coach, those are like the top answers right there. Like that's it just yeah,
Noah did
there's
not tell me to say that.
yeah, that those are perfect because really that is the biggest difference. When people get just a plan, like it just doesn't work that way. Your body's going to be changing throughout the entire plan. And so you have to be changing. Everything's different. The way your body reacts is going to be different. The way Kenny's body reacts is different than my other clients. So that specific point in time is always going to be different. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't mean you have to change all the time. And even to the contrary, there's times where you think you should change, but you shouldn't. Or like Kenny was saying, he wanted to do a change, but it was maybe too extreme or even the opposite. And this is a high level guy we're talking to here. I mean, Kenny's the kind of guy that like has read all the articles. He's done all the research. So there's too much conflicting information out there. So yeah, having that personalized solution is for sure top. And then again, the second, and I think they're just tied, is having constant support. Because think about times where you have a question and you say you're about to eat. You're about to eat out at dinner and you have no idea what the heck to eat. And you feel like you could search it, but you're just not going to deal with that. What are you going to do? Just eat whatever, say, screw it, I'm going to handle that later. But as we kind of will eventually all figure out, is even just one meal can start to set you back. So having that support to get you past all those questions and all those times where you just would have just said, all right, you know what, I'm not going to think about this. You now have a solution. So that can be so powerful. And I think that's really what separates coaching from just getting a plan. And I always like to say, if plans worked, we'd all be fit. But it really takes a custom plan and a dynamic plan. So killer answers. Killer answers. All right. So I like to ask this question because I remember mine specifically, but I'd love to know yours. What is your most proud moment? Was there one time during this program where you were just like, yes? Like, what was that moment?
Yeah, for sure. It was so went on the vacation, had reintroduced carbs. I was pretty low carb the week before. Like I said, we were doing kind of like a stage diet essentially. And day 2, just shredded up. That was when I sent you that picture, and
Yep.
and you have it on your page if people saw that. And it was just like, whoa, didn't think I could get here. And it was just like, wow, this is cool. And then just got one of my buddies who lives out in California. We were talking about coming to go see him. He said, yeah, you can come, but you got to leave your beach body at home. Just poking fun. And he said something about swimsuit, bikini body or something. It was hysterical. I was just laughing, but yeah, just, unsolicited people reaching out, you can put your stuff up there, and I'm not that kind of guy that would, put it up there and say, check me out. That's really not me. But when someone reaches out, a couple of my friends in the program say, hey, this is weird that I know this about you, but I know that's you. And that's amazing, man. And so just having people reach out and do that kind of stuff. And, obviously then, my wife saying stuff, that's always good to hear.
That's spectacular. It's funny that like we're all kind of in a not everybody's in like kind of a close knit friend group. So we are in I don't know what it is. I try to de-identify people, but the people I'm posting is typically they're proud of their transformation. It's not something that they're not too upset that somebody sees. But so many of your buddies were like, oh yeah, that's Kenny. He's killing it. They're like, how the heck did he get that way? So I'm like, how'd you know that? They're like, yeah, I know that scar.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. He's like, I know you have a scar on your arm. That's you, man. I was like, might be, yeah. No, it's cool.
That's funny. That's awesome, man. That photo was mind blowing to me. So I was stoked. I knew that on vacation, when we introduced carbs back in, that's really where we were going to get like the sharpest look. So I was happy you sent me one. That's a killer photo.
It was cool for sure, man.
I'll post that, you'll see that photo is posted. Last few questions here is, sure. If you could give any advice to somebody who either wants to join my program or wants to make a transformation, what would that be?
Yeah. I would say that you got to do it for you. Don't do it for anyone else. There's a time actually in this program where I was talking to Noah about, here's kind of what I want to look like. And you kind of did a 180 on me and said, don't want to look like anyone else. Want to look like you, just the optimum version of you. So, I was saying, I want to look like Jake Gyllenhaal from Southpaw, where he's jacked up and, yeah, he looks good, but like, let's get you to the optimum version of you. Don't be anybody else. Just be the best version of you. So you got to do it for you. If you're not going to follow through. If this is something where you sign up willy nilly, I don't know. You're not going to have success. You got to do this because you want to do it. This wasn't anything that I wanted. My wife to give me compliments, or I wanted my friend to give me compliments. I want to do this strictly for me. And if that's you, do it because it's awesome. So what other advice would I give?
That's perfect advice.
I would say the other one is when you cheat, when it's not a planned cheat meal, when you're just doing it off the rails and you're going rogue. No one else is hurt. No one's not hurt by that. I'm not hurt by that. It's just you. So it was, self accountability. A couple bad days in a row just is a slippery slope to a long, long way down. So commit to the program, commit to, making a change, even if it's just you do a short-term thing and just see what happens. I was busting my ass and thought I was getting good results, but, I committed to this program where everything flipped on its head and I got to that next level. I got over that plateau that I've been at for like 5-6 years that I didn't even know I was hitting. So commit to it. And then greatest thing about macros is you get to eat your donut if you want to eat your donut. I'm not just a donut guy. So I'm also a sweets person. So if you want to do it, you can do it. And that's, I got family members who like their sweets and like their certain things. And I never do that. I'm not motivated like you, Kenny. And I'm like, yeah, but you can still have a donut if you want it. You can still have mac and cheese. You can still do what you want. It's just plan for it, Have a lighter breakfast. Don't eat your snack in the middle of the day. Or if you do eat your snack, account for the carbs that are going to be in your mac and cheese or whatever it is. You can have whatever you want. My friends are all saying, do not drink anymore. Do not do any of that. I'm like, no, I still go have Guinness after softball. I just put it in my macros and, and then I can account for it. So, it's not a life-changing thing. You can make it that if you want, but, I still, people who didn't know, my friends would say that, I'm not any different. I'm not showing up and, drinking a water and having 1 grain of rice, I'm still going out and having my fun and doing what I want to do. It's just, you just got to do a little planning for it. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. That you know, it's such a it's the ethic has to be there. But what we're saying here is you don't have to. You can fit the things that you enjoy. You can fit your current lifestyle. You like you know we if we chop everything down, you know we're only working out a few hours a week, and we're still eating the foods we enjoy. So really, what we're saying here is those things shouldn't be holding you back. You know the common like excuses, I don't have time, or you know like you're saying your friend said I couldn't do it, you know like you are, and you're like having a beer, you're like, what do you mean?
I'm
Like
doing it right next to you. I'm at the
yeah,
bar with you. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No,
So
exactly.
I absolutely love that. I actually love your first point the most, although it's like a deeper point. Is you definitely have to do it for yourself. Honestly, like I know Kenny was doing it for himself because he was willing to fail. He was willing to change. He was willing to learn. All those things are impossible if you're doing it for somebody else. Because when you're doing it for yourself, yes, you have goals. They're important to you, but you're willing to take whatever, you know, however long it takes and do whatever it takes at that point because it's strictly for you. You know, if you fall on your face flat, who are you embarrassing? It's you, you know? So that's so important when you have that sort of goal where it's just you versus you, because then you don't have that added like pressure. You have your own pressure. But what I think most people, when they're doing it for somebody else, A, it doesn't align. And B, they have all these constraints of they have to be this at this time. You know, Kenny gets his result because he's just simply doing something for himself. And I think if it took 6 months, he would have done 6 months, and if it took 12 months, he would have done 12 months. And that kind of brings me to my last point here: is you know we're not stopping. You know we've decided to keep going. So go ahead and let us know what your plans are for the future, because I think a lot of people they don't account for what's in the future. It's like if I just get in shape or get ripped or get lean, uh, if I'm there, perfect. But you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
once you get there, there has to be something else, whether it's like kind of maintaining or gaining or whatever. So yeah, let us know. Now that you kind of got shredded for summer, where do you want to take this next?
Yeah. And again, that's another checkbox for the coach because I kind of did that. I said, well, like, what's the line from Batman? I'm like, once you catch it, I wouldn't know what to do with it. I'm like a dog chasing a car. Once I catch it, I wouldn't know what to do with it. And I got to that goal, and I'm like, shit, what the hell do I do now? I like where I'm at. What do I do?
uh,
So another point with the coaching side of this is I got on with Noah. I said, what are kind of my options? Where do I go from here? Left, right, center. What's kind of my goal? And you just kind of said, well, where do you want to be? What do you think is a good next goal? And we just kind of talked through it. And so are you thinking this? Yeah, but a little bit of a tweak to that. Are you thinking, so this is how I understand it? Yes, but a little tweak over here. And then eventually getting to, all right, this is where we want to be in, this next phase, I'm calling phase 2 here. Let's plan accordingly. Let's get your macros set. Let's get your new workout set. Let's do all that. So, goal right now is to stay lean, but kind of put on a little extra muscle. So that's kind of where I'm at from here. Yeah, tweaking the workouts a little bit. Now I'm dialing back in my diet because my macros are all changed again. Like I said, that's every time it changes, you need to adjust it a little bit. So I'm still figuring it out. I think I've been back in the program for 4 days now. So dialing it in, I'm just about there. But yeah, just continuing to push, get stronger, and stay lean and stay looking good on the beach, I guess.
Perfect. That's awesome, man. I think it's key to know that there's always, you know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like continuing means struggle. You know, right now you're eating pretty good. You know, we're still only working out 3 days a week.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
we're doing a little bit of cardio just to get some, you know, just sweat it out a little. But getting to the next level doesn't necessarily always have to be like, like we're talking about eating chicken and broccoli. It can be something that fits your lifestyle, something that's enjoyable, something that's still kind of like if you were just doing this leisurely, you'd be, especially with the skill set that you have,
Yeah.
you wouldn't notice a difference. So that's what I like is to get my students to a point where the next step is a pleasure. And I
Yeah.
really feel like that's kind of where you were at this. It's like, that let's just keep going. Let's start to improve places I want to improve. I'm looking good. Let's continue to look good, but let's not stop this. Good things are
Yeah.
happening. So
Yeah.
super awesome, man. Well, that's all the questions I have here for you, and I appreciate you a ton for hopping on here. I think it's so powerful to hear from the horse's mouth of
Yeah.
what it's like to really make an impactful transformation. Like I'm telling you guys, Kenny is a humble dude, so he's definitely downplaying the amount of work that he put in. He put in ridiculous amounts of work, extremely meticulous at what he does. So that is a given during this. But when you have that work ethic, really just putting that in putting it into a way that's custom for yourself is really the game changer. But with that, Kenny, any last things that you'd like to say to any potential students or anybody listening in?
Well, I guess what you told me when I had a back tweak, just do it. Just start.
Yes.
There's no better time to start than right now, right? If you want to make a
100%.
change, just do it. What's the worst that happens?
Yeah.
You get fit, you get educated on the diet. I don't know. Sounds terrible. So
I love that,
no, I
man.
just do it.
Perfect. Well, with those words, we'll go ahead and end it at that. The winning words are absolutely just do it. Kenny's a testament of it. Got in, was hesitant at first, some injuries. We absolutely made it work and then some. So again, Kenny, appreciate you so much for hopping on. I appreciate your hard work, truly being a leader to the squad here. So excited for us to keep going here. And you guys will all see what happens next. Super excited. This is just the beginning. All right, Kenny, I'll talk to you, brother. Thank you so much.
Bye.